Mic check. Mic check. Okay. 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 What's going on, y'all? First, before I do anything else, I want to say Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans that are out there. I appreciate you guys' service, uh, sacrifice, and everything you had to do to protect home. You know what I'm saying? So, big salute, major salute to all the veterans that are out there. I appreciate you. Much love. Thank you, and God bless you and your families. Rest in peace to the veterans who are not here. You know what I'm saying? Secondly, uh, on today, as you can see, the topic is everybody ain't. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't. So if you don't know, today is the day. This is the 1 year anniversary of um, Mo 3 uh, passing away. All right. But I kind of when I was creating this, no, creating this episode, man, I really wanted to take it in a different direction. You know, um, and because Mo 3 made that song, I kind of went through his catalog. I got like about 10 songs I picked out his catalog where um they were more not really, what I'm saying, like, that were more heartfelt. He had a knack for telling a story. He had a knack for expressing himself and things of that nature. That's what made him so relatable. You know what I'm saying? But it made me start to think about not Mo 3, but Melvin Noble. You know what I'm saying? And it made me think about who Melvin Noble was. And, so I can go to a rabbit hole about 2, 3 minutes deeper, but it also then it kind of reflect back on me because it's like, well, damn. The reason why we can relate to certain people is because what they speak, how they express themselves is relative to what we've been through in life. And in particularly one song, I had about 4 different songs to choose from when I wanted to make this episode because today is 11/11. But I chose everybody. Um, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. But everybody is a song that's really based on uh, betrayal trauma. Like in a lot of Mo 3's music, there's a lot of betrayal trauma. There's a lot of, what I'm saying, feeling like somebody did him wrong. He showed love and, what I'm saying, somebody did him wrong. And as a person with a good heart, I know how that feels to genuinely help people out. Then they flip on you. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times people associate, um, they they associate betrayal and trauma with just relationships, as far as romantic relationships, but it also goes into just friendships and, what I'm saying, childhood traumas and things of that nature. So without further ado, I'm gonna get right into it. You know what I'm saying? Get right into it, man. Hold up. I was playing. My check. Okay. So I want to say 1990s, she was a psychologist. Her name was Jennifer Fried. She coined the concept of betrayal trauma, and I have a video showing her, and she talks about it too. I actually have 2 videos. So I'm gonna go ahead and get through what I have to read through, and then I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all the videos, so you won't be here for a long time. Um, she coined the term betrayal trauma to describe what occurs when people or institutions on which a person depends for survival significantly violate that person's trust or well-being. Infidelity, child abuse, and partner violence are examples of events that can cause betrayal trauma because they all involve a breach of trust between people in an intimate relationship. Betrayal trauma can also happen when an institution, such as a government or law enforcement body, harms the individuals that it claims to serve, right? So generally speaking, betrayal trauma is triggered when a person or institution that we rely on for support, whether it's food, shelter, safety, emotional needs, job security, violates our boundaries. All right, this can range from early childhood experiences where our basic needs weren't met to infidelity with a romantic relationship to institutional silence with regards to highly charged social justice issues. The impacts of betrayal trauma are often compounded by the fact that the person who was harmed may need to remain in the abusive relationship for survival, as in the case of child abuse or institutional abuse. In this case, it is in our to our advantage to react in the normal way to the betrayal. All right, leave the relationship or the institution. Instead, we must suppress or ignore the betrayal in order to have our needs met. So that's kind of like with today, right? You have the COVID-19 vaccine and whatnot. Um, you know, depending on what side, what side you're on with it, jobs are actually holding against people if they don't have the jab. You know what I'm saying? Places are holding against people if they don't have the jab and things of that nature. You can't go in certain places in certain states if you don't have the jab. So they are creating, you know what I'm saying? Some people are leaving their job because they didn't want to be forced to have the jab. So that's an example of betrayal trauma because at the same time you might ignore that just to keep your job or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And so that's that. Matter of fact, that's a perfect example. So according to 2008 Encyclopedia of Psychological Trauma, in instances of betrayal trauma, the victim may be less aware or less able to recall the traumatic experience because to do so will likely lead to a confrontation or withdrawal by betraying the caregiver, threatening the necessary attachment relationship and thus the victim's survival. Betrayal triggers can be particularly hard to grasp in situations where there isn't a direct attachment. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, betrayal trauma theory argues that safe and trustworthy attachments can be developed if these traumas are properly confronted and healed. Now, you do have some common signs or symptoms in betrayal trauma. Like I said, I have to get through what I need to. I don't have much to go, but I have two videos going to further on explain and give context and nuance to what I'm talking about. So some common signs or symptoms of betrayal trauma. Betrayal trauma often involves difficulty even recognizing what's happening and naming the feelings that it brings. Self-diagnosis is admittedly difficult because of other complex traumas, and like PTSD, can generate similar reactions to betrayal trauma. And just here are a few, it's a list of common betrayal trauma symptoms. All right, severe lack of trust, including difficulty trusting others and yourself, anxiety, and panic attacks, anger, constant reminders of triggering incidents, repression, disassociation or forgetfulness around triggering incidents, depression, emotional dysregulation, hypervigilance, irregular eating, poor sleep habits, restlessness, self-doubt, and self-harm. But to distinguish betrayal trauma from other trauma responses like post-traumatic stress, Conquest offers a more vivid example. So imagine being attacked on the subway by a stranger. You got PTS, post-traumatic stress. Now imagine being robbed on the subway by a stranger with you know what I'm saying, which is, now mind you, the stranger is post-traumatic stress. All right. So before you know what, I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna run it back. Before I go through the scenario, the stranger is post-traumatic stress. All right. So put that in your mind. The stranger in this example is post-traumatic stress. So imagine being attacked on the subway by a stranger, right? Now imagine being robbed on the subway by a stranger. All right. and then finding out that your partner set you up for an insurance payout. Now, the insurance payout is betrayal trauma. All right. The robbery is a gut punch. Now, what about the complicity of someone who once made you feel safe? You know, that's a double whammy, and it kind of creates a mixed bag of complicated emotions that can linger for many years to come, which is also known as betrayal trauma. So, when examining your relationship for signs of betrayal trauma, um, I want to recommend a few questions, right? Does this relationship feel safe? Does my communication pattern come from an emotionally protected place? Do I feel the need to protect myself even from people in my life who are supposed to be quote unquote safe? Is there a hypervigilance about becoming a victim? Is there a history of abuse? Is there limited foundational trust and safety? I should have made a. I might make a. I might make a. Hold on, that real quick. By the time this video end, I will have that on the screen, so you can screenshot it or you know what I'm saying? You screenshot it and have a visual of it, but I will have it on the screen. Sorry for not having it up right now. But, I'm going to give a few examples on betrayal trauma in three terms, right? In romantic relationships, with parents and caregivers, and on the institutional level. All right. So in romantic relationships, situations of infidelity and abuse are intrinsically linked to betrayal trauma. In the romantic context, infidelity can mean having sex with other people when when you in a monogamous relationship and that was agreed on. But depending on the relationship boundaries, depending on the relationship parameters, the partners have agreed on, it might include emotional affairs, watching porn, or other micro cheating behaviors like um, financial cheating. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? You went and bought the Xbox when she ain't know. You know what I'm saying? And you may be like, oh shit, it's my money, but how that go? You know what I'm saying? But also the abuse can be physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, or other forms of violence and manipulation. You know what I'm saying? So with that, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, like, there's a lot of women and men who financially cheat. They might, you know what I'm saying, like the women like the women may go buy some shoes or something, don't tell the man, you know what I'm saying? Or the man might go and buy, you know what I'm saying, whatever, you know what I'm saying, a new car, you know what I'm saying, just something random, but things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? Now, in relationships with parents and caregivers, betrayal trauma can also happen outside the context of adult relationships. It can come in the form of any childhood, sexual, emotional, or physical assault by the caregiver, and children can be significantly affected by betrayal trauma both directly and indirectly. The direct effect is being a victim of trauma. The vicarious effect may be children being raised by parents who experience trauma, thus creating generational trauma. All right, and again, that was between relationships between parents and caregivers, right? Parents, caregivers, and children. All right, so on the institutional level, betrayal trauma also doesn't have to be an individual level. Coker and Conquest note it frequently happens at an institutional level. An example of betrayal trauma could be officers in the military being sexually assaulted. Conquest explains when the assault is reported or discovered, there is no reaction or an inappropriate response from the military, right? So in this example, the lack of response may be even more traumatic than the sexual assault itself. So not only did you get sexually assaulted, but the lack of response, the lack of care that some people have for you, just as traumatic or even worse, because it kind of leaves the door open for it to happen to you again. You know what I'm saying? So this can also be referred to as it's institutional trauma. In such cases, the violated officer may not only feel aggrieved by their attacker, but distrust can lead to um, a limited interaction with other teammates and a lack of faith in the entire system. The person experiencing this form of betrayal trauma may not necessarily be a direct victim of physical abuse or violence, but the failure to prevent or respond supportively to a um, reported individual incidents by an institution constitutes betrayal trauma. You know what I'm saying? But this is also something common that people of color and others with marginalized identities face. They expect the institution that espouses concern for their needs to have their backs, but often they fall short. You know what I'm saying? Often they fall short. So, let's see. We'll go ahead and show the videos. Right now, I do have a little bit more, but I've already been reading for a certain time. So I'm going to go ahead and queue up the videos. Y'all stay tuned, man. It's a Trill Pill, man. If y'all like the information, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to it. We want to donate to the Trill Pill. The whole movement, the Trill Pill is the umbrella, and everything else falls up under it. It's right in the middle of the screen, man. $ at the Trill Pill. Y'all, so make sure you look at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you go and follow and support these people at the bottom of my screen, all right? Make sure you do that. And when you do that, tell them the Trill Pill sent you. All right. I'm also going to have my email and my other information on the bottom of the screen, whether it be my Instagram, my email, and then when I run my little commercial or whatever, my little intro, outro, whatever you want to call it, also pay attention to it because more information is on there. My Instagram is on there. Facebook is on there. My TikTok, I think, is on there. My CashApp is on there, and also what's on there is where you can also just listen to me. Like if you're on the go, if you're on the go, you can just hit the Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcast, and you can hear this exact same video on there. All right, I'm gonna make sure I do that. Certain videos I won't do it, but for some videos that have like the information that I'm giving out, I'm definitely going to do that, man. Like I said, today is 11/11, and so long live Mo 3. That's why I took the inspiration for this episode from, because as you see the title, everybody ain't. Like I said, dealing with betrayal trauma and how to cope from it, how to heal from it, and I'm going to show you Jennifer Fried, who coined betrayal trauma term. She coined it. I'm not saying she created it, but she coined it. I'm pretty sure somebody else created it, but that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to show it to you in for a few minutes. Here I'm talking. I also have a TED Talk with, I think her name is Rosalind Akers Black. And she had a great TED Talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Very beautiful woman, Black woman, soft spoken, well spoken. But she has. She's I won't say she's a psychologist, and she had a great TED Talk about it, one that I watch frequently. Because I be on my TED Talk shit. But that being said, man, I'm going to go ahead and cue the videos up. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go ahead and cue it up so we can get out of here in a timely manner. All right, so Trill Pill, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for me, please, and join the Trill Trial. It's a Trill Pill, man. Much love to y'all. God bless. Happy Veterans Day. I'll be right back, man. Long live 3. Welcome back. Hope you went to the bathroom a little bit, got you some water, fruit snacks, and whatnot. This is Jennifer Fried. I'm gonna let her rock for a few minutes, and then we're gonna get to the other TED Talk. All right. This is Jennifer Fried, and she coined the term betrayal trauma. And here's just her speak. I'm introducing her to you guys. So make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe, and notification button. Your support is highly, highly appreciated. Like I said, Cash App, it will be in the middle of the screen in case you want to donate to this movement. But without further ado, Jennifer Fried, yeah. Jennifer
I'm
Fried.
Jennifer Fried. I'm Professor Emerit of Psychology at the University of Oregon. I'm also the founder and president of the Center for Institutional Courage. And I will talk now about two things. One is betrayal blindness, which arises from my theory of betrayal trauma. And the other is institutional betrayal, which also grew out of the theory of betrayal trauma. Betrayal blindness is what occurs when people are betrayed often in a significant way by somebody they really trust, they depend upon, and that a person who has power over them and or takes care of them. And the betrayal trauma is a parent abusing a child. The child is in a terrible bind in that situation because they need to engage in a relationship with that parent in order to have their basic needs met. The way we respond to betrayal in life when fully independent and empowered is to be very aware of the betrayal and to confront or withdraw from the situation. So if you go to a store and they give you a bad product or the wrong change, typically you'll confront the store and or demand your money back and or never shop there again. Similarly, if you're in a relationship with somebody and you're very empowered and independent and they do something wrong to you, maybe they tell a secret they had promised to keep, you confront them or you end the relationship. And you can find examples of this reaction all over the place. We're, in fact, very sensitive to betrayal when we have power in a situation. The problem arises when we don't have power, when we're dependent. And in that situation, those responses of withdrawal and confrontation, which are kind of, by the way, like fight and flight, don't work because what happens is they take us away from a relationship we depend upon. If a child confronts an abusive parent or withdraws from an abusive parent, they're likely to have fewer of their needs met. They're not likely to be as well cared for, and it can actually risk their life because children are so dependent on parents. But it's not just children. Adults often are dependent as well. So if you're working for a boss and you really need the job and the boss mistreats you, there's a huge risk in being fully aware of that mistreatment because you may confront the boss or pull away and rock the boat, so to speak, and lose that job that you really need. The solution that we have as humans to this bind, we call betrayal blindness. And that's when some amount of the information about the betrayal is blocked from awareness. It can happen in various ways. Some people actually just forget the experience. Other people remember it, but retell it as if it's something they wanted, as if they were in control when they really weren't. These different ways of having betrayal blindness solve the problem for different people to different extents, but you can almost always find them if people are in a highly dependent relationship in which they get betrayed. This idea led to lots of research, and for many years, my students and I discovered that betrayal not only can lead to this kind of blindness, failures in memory and awareness, but also all sorts of other psychological and even physical consequences. Betrayal, in fact, can be quite poisonous to people. One of the things we wondered about during this research was whether institutions can also cause betrayal. And this came up a number of times because we would notice that there were some severe betrayals that involved institutions. Perhaps one of the most famous is the Holocaust, where a government ordered genocide on some of its very own citizens. That's an extreme betrayal involving individuals who are obviously dependent on the institution doing the betrayal. One of the situations that we also were aware of was what people said after they'd been sexually assaulted in the military. They would say, I joined the military in order to serve my country, but once I was there, I was sexually assaulted by a fellow officer, or even the commanding officer. That was bad. But then when I tried to report it and get help and justice, it was even worse. They would say to us the institutional response of the military was even worse than sexual assault. And if you think about it, that's a pretty strong statement, because what's worse than sexual assault? Well, it turns out institutional betrayal sometimes can be. Institutional betrayal, very broadly, is when an institution doesn't do right by those who are dependent upon it. It can take the form of overt betrayal, like a genocide, but it can also take the form of failure to protect when protection is reasonably expected. And individuals do expect protection from many institutions. One reason we suspected we'd see betrayal blindness is that people are dependent, and not only that, they have emotional attachments to institutions that indicate their attachment system, which engages people's in relationships, can operate because people say they love institutions, they love their school, they love their church. And when you love, that means you've got an emotional attachment to an institution. So we suspected there could be blindness for institutional betrayal and effects similar to interpersonal betrayal. So we proceeded to do research on this, my students leading many of the studies, Carly Smith, for instance, and we found out that, sure enough, institutional betrayal can be very powerful, even controlling for people's exposure to interpersonal betrayal, leading to a host of physical and mental and behavioral symptoms. One of the questions that then arose from this is what to do about it. And the solution I call institutional courage. And institutional courage is a host of behaviors institutions can engage in that reduce the probability of institutional betrayal.
Yeah, so that was Jennifer Fried. Like I said, she is the person who coined the term betrayal trauma. And now I'm gonna take you directly into a TED talk by Rosalind Aker Black. Like I said, she talks about it more. You know what I'm saying? Um, she's a very dope person. You know what I'm saying? She's very dope. Like I said, she's very dope. So I'm gonna take you right to her, and then we'll close this thing on that. And I'll come up with conclusion, and then we'll go on about our business, man. But make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share and subscribe. And for those who don't know how to, uh, you know what I'm saying, you forgot how to like, share, and subscribe. All right, this is how you like, right? You ready? All right. Uh, and then the share button is right here. You know what I'm saying? You share it to whatever. You know what I'm saying? And this is the subscribe. Go ahead. Oh, and notification bell. Boom. See how easy that was, boys and girls? Now go back to the pure trill pill and you know what I'm saying? And like, share, and subscribe and do exactly what I just told you. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all you come over, but you don't support, and I can see everything that goes on behind us. So I'm like, well, man, I really want y'all to like, share, and support because this information is great information. And I want you guys to not only get the information, but also seek more information, give me feedback, and share it out to others so that this information can get out to others. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody is going to help us out, and it's not. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it on your own, and I think we can go if you want to go. I remember Marshawn Lynch said, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go further, want to go farther, go together. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and let Rosalind Aker Black speak. Her surviving betrayal.
It was 2:30 a.m. and my father was banging on the door of this guy's house that I was in. In that moment, I knew everything about our relationship would change. You see, my parents had one cardinal rule, and that was never to lie to them. And on that night, I lied. 18 years of building a foundation of trust was disrupted with this one act, this one situation, this one lie. And as I was preparing to leave for college in 3 days, I was terrified because I did not know what my new relationship would look like with my parents. According to me, I was their favorite child and I never gave them issues. So this was brand new territory for me. Now, I'm not new to the idea of betrayal. If you're any American girl that's gone through middle school and high school, you've had some backstabbing and thought someone was your friend. I was very comfortable being betrayed because I could blame how I felt on someone else. However, I could not wrap my mind around being the one causing pain. So, like most people, when situations happen, you don't talk about it. You sweep it under the rug. So, as I have had the honor of providing therapeutic services for children, individuals, families, couples, I realized one thing. The crux of most dysfunction was rooted in betrayal. Whether it was abandonment, infidelity, neglect, it became those family secrets or those family turmoils. And again, people just did not talk about it. We're very used or okay with the idea of being hurt, but what I've realized in my career is that we do not know how to resolve the hurt. Now, many of us, we practice this thing called emotional cutoffs. I'll give you an example. My cutoff game is strong. Yep, if that was you, just look forward. We know that's not how you operate. Or I'll never talk to that person again. Or she is dead to me. Now, while this may sound like a beautiful way to protect yourself, it isn't. It's a beautiful way to avoid pain, but avoiding pain does not allow you to resolve the issue. So whatever pain is not resolved in one relationship, it will follow you to the next relationship and the next relationship, and it becomes cyclical. So today, I want to offer you 3 techniques that can help you start your journey on surviving this thing called betrayal. So number 1, no one owes you anything. I felt a collective eye roll in this section right here. Now, I know that does not sound therapeutic at all, but the reality is this. You may not ever get closure from the person that hurt you. So you cannot live your life waiting for permission and to be forgiven. You have to be the advocate for yourself and give yourself closure. Well, how do I do that, Dr. Roz? I'm glad you asked. You have to have a very honest moment about what that betrayal has done to you. How are you functioning in your betrayal? How do you feel? What are you feeling? What are you expressing? How are you behaving? Because once you pinpoint how the betrayal has affected you, now you have your starting point on knowing where to heal. So if you feel guilt, if you feel shame, if you feel powerless, now you know where to begin. Now you know where you need to start the healing process. So be your own advocate and give yourself closure. Number two, it's not all about you. Now, I know you guys are probably like, is this lady really a therapist? Because none of this sounds therapeutic. But the reality is, sometimes you are just casualty of war to someone's decision and to someone's behavior. You have to look at the intention of why someone may have done something that they did. So, in the psychological world, we use this technique called reframing. And in reframing, what we do is that we look at every perspective of the situation. And you begin to understand why someone may have done what they've done. So here's an example. How many of you are mothers, parents? How many times have you asked your child, why would you do something like that? And how many times have they said, oh no? And then you walk around like, Father God, who is this that I'm raising? Please let them be a productive citizen. Right? But here's the truth. Children who do not know how to cope with disappointment, how to express emotions, or understand their behaviors, they become adults who do not know how to cope with disappointment, express their emotions, or understand their behavior. So when they do something, some people really do not know why they did it. Take my situation with my parents. That night that they caught me at the young man's house, it was not my intentions to betray my parents that night. I had missed my curfew, and in my little limited 18-year-old mind, I told myself, go ahead and keep the party going. So, of course, when I had this conversation with my parents several years later, my father asked, well, why would you think that that was a good idea? What do you think I told him? Oh no. Because in that moment, it wasn't about them. I just wanted to be rebellious and celebrate going off to college. And I was too embarrassed as someone who was about to go be a freshman to say that I still had an 11 o'clock p.m. curfew. So again, you have to look at the intentions of what people are doing and reframe it to understand the perspective. Third thing, forgiveness. Not forget, because I see you guys doing the heavy side like, really, lady, we have to forgive people that hurt us. I understand when you feel pain that it's very hard to forgive someone. But the reality is, forgiveness is not about them at all. It's not giving them a pass. Forgiveness is for you. Because here's how you know that you're still in that pain. When you see the person on Facebook or Instagram living their best life, and you immediately roll your eyes and you immediately get upset, and you immediately get a migraine, and then you just have to shut it all down. Because that person has not apologized to you for making you feel pain. Energy is never created or destroyed. Allowing that negative energy from whatever betrayal that they've done to you is an affront to your potential, your goals, and your dreams. You are worth more than having anxiety, stressed, being depressed because of something that someone did to you. If you don't remember anything else today, remember this: you cannot control anyone else's behaviors. And also, you do not have to carry the burden of someone else's behavior. When you carry that pain with you, you're carrying the burden of someone else's choice, which is not fair at all to you. So today, I challenge you to be bold enough to know that you are not powerless. You do not need permission from someone who has done you wrong to heal.
I'm gonna stop it right there. I'm gonna drop the first video, Jennifer Fried, and this video with Rosalind Black. I'm gonna drop that in my description below the video, below this video. But shout out to her because she did that. You know what I'm saying? Very well spoken, well thought out, well planned. Everything she said was right on target. So just to give a quick review, you know what I'm saying? A quick review. All right. So when examining your relationship for signs of betrayal and trauma, like I said, relationship doesn't, it can mean a intimate relationship, your friendship, the relationship between your parent or your caregiver, or your relationship between you and your institution or your job or your workplace or whatever. Um, Relationships in general. All right. Ask yourself these questions when you are examining whether those relationships are healthy or not. All right. Does this relationship feel safe? Does my communication pattern come from an emotionally protective place? Do I feel the need to protect myself even from people in my life who are supposed to be safe? Is there a hypervigilance about becoming a victim? Is there a history of abuse? Is there limited foundational trust and safety? All right, make sure you ask yourself those questions. I'll give y'all some time. Make sure if you want to screenshot that or whatnot, give you about 5 more seconds to go on to the next one, and then we'll close this thing right on now. All right. So here's a list, like I said, here's a list of betrayal trauma symptoms: severe lack of trust, including difficulty trusting others and yourself, anxiety and panic attacks, anger, constant reminders of triggering incidents, repression, disassociation or forgetfulness around triggering incidents, depression, emotional dysregulation, hypervigilance, irregular eating, poor sleeping habits, restlessness, self-doubt, and self-harm. Those are just a few signs. I'll give y'all a few seconds if you want to get your screenshot on. You know what I'm saying? In case you want to get your screenshot on. You know what I'm saying about? Go ahead and do that. And then, lastly, like she said, man, no one owes you anything. All right. Be your own advocate to give yourself closure. It's not all about you. Sometimes you are just a casualty of war to someone's decision and behavior. Look at the intention of why someone did what they did. Reframe. Look at every perspective of the situation to understand why they did what they did. Forgiveness is not forgetting the people that have hurt us. Forgiveness is not about giving them a pass. Forgiveness is for you. All right. Forgiveness is for you. The energy is never created or destroyed. Allowing that negative energy from the betrayal is an affront to your potential goals and dreams. You are worth more than having anxiety, stress, or depression because of what someone did to you. You cannot control anyone else's behaviors, and you do not have to carry the burden of their behavior, which is not fair at all to you today. You do not need permission from someone who has done you wrong to heal. All right. You do not need permission from someone who has done you wrong to heal. You are not powerless. Looking for healing in a place um, that you have been hurt will never be beneficial for you. All right. Looking for healing in a place that you have already been hurt will never be beneficial for you. You are responsible for your healing. Be bold and be brilliant. You are not your mistakes. You are amazing. You powerful. You know what I'm saying? You're amazing. You powerful. You the best. You smart. You loyal. You know what I'm saying? And get my DJ Khaled on. Look, you have everything in you that makes you who you are, and you don't have to walk around in pain. You have the tools now to help you. You have the tools now to help you. Don't sit there and wait for somebody to help you out because they ain't gonna come. Sorry. If you're sitting around waiting for people to help you out, to help you come, no, you gotta get it how you live. Literally. You have to take the on like I said all the time, take the bull by the horns. You gotta go head up with the bull and crack the horns. That's how you gotta do that. You can't wait for somebody to heal you. You have to take necessary precautions to go and do what you have to do. You did. You know what I'm talking about? Without further ado, man, I'm gonna close this thing on. And like I said, man, thank y'all for listening. Thank you for watching. This will be on YouTube and it will be on Spotify and Google Podcasts and whatever, all the rest of that shit too. But 4 or 5 things left, man. Look, 11/11, happy Veterans Day. Shout out to all the veterans. Thank you for your sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Number 2, the whole inspiration behind this episode in itself. Uh, this guy right here, Smoke 3. This is Melvin Noble. Start calling him. I'm gonna start calling him. You know, I mean, he's actually rapper name is Smoke 3, but this guy right here that's in the picture with his kids, that's Melvin Noble. So rest in peace for this guy. Thank him for creating content that has helped people out. Um, like I said, creating content that we can pull inspiration to and from. You know what I'm saying? Like this whole episode of Everybody Aint was inspired by him. I could have went through four or 5 different songs, but I chose this one for right now because it's relevant to what's going on right now in my life and our other people's lives. You know what I'm saying? So today is the day that he met his untimely demise. So long live Mo 3. That's him right there, Melvin Noble. Long live Melvin Noble. His children. Um, God bless him and his family and his friends. I hope they get the proper healing that they need, as well as people who were fans of him get the proper healing that they need. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, man, Everybody Aint. It's the name of this episode. You know what I'm saying, man? So, without further ado, man, 2 things, man. Stay trill and heal and monumental to be monumental, man. Much love. God bless. Happy Veterans Day. Long live 3. And God bless you. Remember, you have the power. You have the tools to help you out. Don't wait for nobody else to help you out. That shit is dead. You understand me? It's a trill pill, man. I don't know no other way. Take one.